Sib Hashian, the drummer from Boston, dies while aboard rock and roll cruise ship. Hasn't this happened before? I remember Eddie Trunk talking about something. Eddie Trunk was on one of these rock and roll cruises, and someone died while he was on it. What's going on? What's going on? Sib, rock and roll themed cruise. Hashian collapsed on stage during a performance Wednesday on the Legends of Rock cruise. Hashian's son said the cause of death is not known, but we think it might have been a heart attack. Hashian played on Boston's first two hit records, 76 featuring More Than a Feelin', and the 78 follow-up Don't Look Back. The original band made up of Tom Scholz, Brad Delp, Barry Gorder, Fran Sheehan, and Hashian. Had one of the most successful debut records in history, selling over 17 million copies with the singles Long Time and Peace of Mind. Little rock knowledge here. I feel like I'm on 70s at 7. 70s on 7.
A year ago, Eddie Trunk went to host a rock cruise, and the bassist Jimmy Bain from Dio and Rainbow was found dead in his cabin the night before the show.
This is just what's going on with the rock and roll cruises. Let's see. Listed as performer on 8-day cruise, departed from Miami on MSC Cruises Divina ship, I guess. What's MSC Cruises? Doesn't sound very nice. It's not Royal Caribbean or Norwegian. Other rockers on the cruise included former member of Boston, Gerder, and Jeff Ifanti of Kansas. I don't know. That sounds depressing. That just sounds depressing, going on a cruise like that. You know? Watching some old rockers on a cruise ship. I like cruises, don't get me wrong, but you gotta understand it's a cruise. You like, if you're okay with going on a cruise and what that entails, then it's fine. But don't make it sound like it's this crazy vacation. It's a fucking cruise. I like it because the casino goes with you. The casino goes right along with you. If my room goes from Fort Lauderdale to, let's say, St. Martin, the casino follows right behind me. Casino's right there. I love it. Let's see. All right. Well, that's it. Of course, we know Sib Hashian, in the latter part of his career, was Scorch's co-host. You might remember Scorch. Scorch PFG TV. It's pretty fucking good television. Is what it's called. Scorch. We did radio with Scorch at WAAF in Westboro, Mass. They liked saying Boston, but the studio was in Westboro, which is like in between Boston and Worcester. And Scorch was the, I guess, 7 to midnight guy. He'd come in after Opie and I did 3 to 7. And he was an all right guy. I had no problems with Scorch. Scorch couldn't take a lot of the ribbing we gave him, is what happened. We would goof on Scorch relentlessly on the O&A show. We would do Jocktober about him. We would talk about his wacky radio bits. His wacky radio bits he would do. Douche or dressing was one. Douche or dressing? I'm going to name something. You got to tell me if it's a douche or a dressing. Oil and vinegar. That's a dressing. Water and vinegar. That's a douche. That's what Scorch. It's brilliant. Wheel of meat. We're going to do the wheel of meat. Spin the wheel of meat. And then they would spin the wheel of meat. And he would say something about it was his show was totally nude radio. And no one knew what that meant. He was wearing his clothes. I don't know. The Naked Militia. That's all my listeners. The Naked Militia, totally nude. Not naked. So we would goof on all this stuff. But you know what? It was out of love. Because no one was as wacky as the Scorch band. Scorch was just wacky. And Scorch had this a television show. I got to tell you, Scorch way ahead of his time. Scorch was doing a TV kind of, it wasn't a webcast. He would put it on YouTube, but at the time it was supposedly being broadcast somewhere. Now, I doubt this because Scorch, although we loved him, was he would fib. Scorch was a great fibber a lot of the times. And he would tell us how his show is in like 1,000 markets all over the world. And I think he just meant he put it on YouTube. Not that it was actually in a bunch of markets. But so he had this PFG TV, and Sib was his sidekick. So he would be at the desk, and he would have, and it was set up like the Tonight Show kind of a thing, his desk, and then seats to the side, the big chair that the guest would sit in. And Sib would sit in that chair, and then when another guest would come out, the sidekick Sib would go over to the couch. So it was very much like your standard 70s, 80s type talk show. And Sib, as I recall, because we watched a few of these episodes, would just ramble on about nothing. He could possibly, not to speak ill of the dead, but he could possibly have been the most distracting person besides Scorch. Scorch himself was distracting. But Scorch would bring up a topic, and Sib would just go off on a tangent, and it would make no sense whatsoever. So that's kind of like the last image we had of Sib. Weird news. We're going to do some weird news. How about that, Sib? Sibby. You're my buddy Sibby. And that's it. I don't know. I haven't heard any statements from Scorch about this. I think Scorch recently put out another sizzle reel, too. He's trying to get an acting gig. Scorch loves to fancy himself a thespian, actor. So he's put out these audition reels of him acting, and they're hilarious. They're hilarious. He plays one type of character, Scorch. Like usually if you put out a sizzle reel of your acting prowess, you'd think you'd play someone other than yourself. Let's watch some of this.
I got it. I did mess, but I had to fucking clean up.
Where's the brightness?
Shut your mouth.
Who filmed this?
Go on, take it.
I want it dark.
Kill him.
You can't even see what's happening.
Jimmy, what the hell?
Keep it dark. And then put a red light on me or something. Make me look like the devil.
Do it. You want to come working for me? You take your gun. You aim your gun. You point your gun.
I've never seen this scene where the boss makes somebody, one of his underlings, kill someone.
Do that, man. You shoot him.
Sex, man. Come on,
Mikey,
man.
what I tell you, want to come working here? You shoot him. Yes, he does.
Mike, shut the fuck up.
This is terrible.
I said pull that fucking trigger now.
Boom.
Mikey. God damn it.
Dead.
What the fuck?
Oh, it wasn't
My driver
loaded.
got killed. They stole coke. And they stole $10 million from another deal.
Well, you realize what you're telling me is illegal. Totally illegal.
I can throw you out of the
This
business.
is great.
I want that one thing. And your name is what? Kender. Kender, there's one thing you got to do. You got to look into this camera right here.
Right there.
Right? And you got to go, ow, 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 because, dude, if you don't look like what Sam Kinison would look like if he was alive today, oh, my God. I'm sitting there like, that's Sam Kinison, holy crap.
I think all men should know how to fix cars.
That's like saying all women should know how to do laundry.
Well, up until now, this was the only solution. But that's no help. Because when you're arguing or debating with someone, the only way you can
I don't know how
is to
everybody
try to
allows
get
him to
others
have
on
his
your
tooth
side.
picked.
T-Bones, we love great taste, and we traveled all the way to Dodge City, Kansas to
And then his
find it.
voiceover work. And then his professional wrestling career. Scorch has always been very multifaceted. What was his name? What was his wrestling name? Something Italian, I think. Is that the Honky Tonk Man? Big star right there. I was in the ring with all of them, the big ones. The Honky Tonk Man. All right. All right. Well, that's Scorch. It was my only tribute I could do for Sib Hashian was the fact that he was on Scorch's show. So I had to show some Scorch. It made no sense.